Hello and welcome back to Book and Troll. Today I want to talk about joining the classics community. So there is a YouTuber out there called Lucythereader and she talks about nothing but classics, pretty much nothing but classics on her channel, and she actually started a classics community, hashtag classics community, on Goodreads, and in that community the whole point is to get people to discuss classics, to start reading more classics, and maybe start your journey to the classics world if you've never read any classics before. I have read classics before, and I will leave a link to my Goodreads down below as well as a link to the classics community down below as well if you want to join. So, the aim of the game is to at least read 12 classics within the year. Just 12. If you can read more than that, fantastic! But at least if you just aim for at least 12, so that's a classic a month, you're on the winning streak as it is, really, basically. And so I decided, because I'd been in a bit of a reading slump and I really want to read more books, I decided to try and take part in this classic community. So I have here all of the classics that I plan to read this year. Hopefully it may change, books may be added, and stuff like that. Basically, I was going to say books may be taken away, probably won't. But books will definitely, hopefully be added to this. So, in my little pile, I've also got some classics on my Kindle as well, and I'm also wanting to, for me personally, I want to try and read more classic poems and things like that. That's what I definitely want to try and read this year, is read more of the iconic poems, the ones that people rave about, the ones that you always forever remember. So that is my aim. So I decided I will talk you through the books that I plan to read this year for this classic community. And yeah, so to start off with, I'm going to show you these two. So the reason why I'm starting off with these two is because I started reading these last year and I want to hopefully finish them. I'm hoping by the time this video comes out this one will have been read. So yeah, that's a hope. So in December I decided I wanted to read A Christmas Carol, because obviously it's a Christmas story and I've seen a lot of different adaptations of it, but I've never really sat down and read it. And as you can see, it ain't that long. So I was like, what the hell's stopping me? But like I said, I was in a reading slump and it was just, I wasn't motivated to do any reading whatsoever. So hopefully, by the time this video's come out, this book has been read. Hopefully, that is the hope, that this has been read. So yeah, A Christmas Carol, if you know what the story's about, it's basically about a gentleman called Scrooge, and he is miserable and he hates Christmas and he don't want anything to do with it. And on Christmas Eve he gets a visit from an old friend who has passed away, and he warns him that he's going to be introduced to three spirits: a spirit of the past, a spirit of the present, and a spirit of the future. And hopefully the aim is he will change and become a better human. Whatever he does, you'll have to read it and find out. As will I. I'm assuming that things improve, because like I said, I've seen an adaptation, but I can't say anything more than that. So yeah, this is definitely one of the books I want to finish, because it's a Christmas story, and we're now in January, and don't really want to be reading Christmas stories in January. So hopefully I will have read this by the time this video's come out. Hopefully. The other one I want to read is Dracula. So I started this as a Halloween read and it was the winning book basically. So on my main channel I actually asked people, which book should I read for Halloween? Should it be Frankenstein or should it be Dracula? I think there might have been a third option but I can't remember what that was. Oh, Dr. Sleep. So two of them were Victorian, one of them was modern, and I said, so these are your options, Frankenstein, Dracula or Dr. Sleep, and pretty much all the comments said Dracula, because obviously it's the iconic monster book, one of the first, but I don't know if it is the full-on first, but it's one of the first stories out there about vampires. And I always like the idea of reading one of the first stories out there to do with vampires, because I've always liked that kind of supernatural world. I'm up to chapter 3. Obviously I've not done very well. To say this was meant to be my Halloween read. But hopefully I plan to finish this year, hopefully this month. just to kind of get a ball rolling, and then start on getting onto newer book, well, not new because it's classics obviously, but newer book choices rather than the ones that have been hovering around for months with me not reading them. And I'm hoping that I'm going to be in more of a reading mood this year, so hopefully this will get read. So yeah, it's just a bit of a shame now because I've got a friend of mine who really knows me actually, and he was like, you ain't gonna like it. You ain't gonna like it. You would probably have done better choosing Frankenstein. And it's like, but it's too late. Everyone else chose. Oh, so yeah, Dracula it is. I will be happy with myself once I've completed it. And I don't want to poo-poo it. I'm sure it's great. I'm sure there's lots of people out there that love it. And I've actually managed to find a picture online, which I'll post here. Boom! This is what Dracula's meant to look like. That is how he is described in the book. Unlike the Christopher Lee images of the Secure book and everything like that, the iconic images you see from like the 30s films and stuff, this is what Dracula looks like, according to the description in the book. So that's cool. So I will hopefully get that book read. Now, to go on to the other books that I want to read that I haven't started yet. So, what I have chosen for this challenge, aside from the ones that need to be finished, is I have chosen A Room with a View by E.M. Foster. I don't know much about it. I think it was a book that another YouTuber mentioned, and I was like, alright, I won't mind trying to read that, because it was seen as one of the books that you can try and get into classics with, because it's it's not that big, basically. What does it say here? In this brilliant piece of social comedy, Foster is concerned with one of his favourite themes, the undeveloped heart of the English middle classes, who are here represented by a group of tourists and expatriates in Florence. The English abroad are observed with a sharp, ironic eye, but one of them, the young and unaffected Lucy Honeychurch, is also drawn with great sympathy. Interesting. So that sounds interesting to read. I want to read that. I'm actually surprised that it's a bloke as well. I thought it was a woman. So yes, I'm looking forward to that. Another book that I want to read is Emma. So I know another adaptation of this came out, and I have seen an adaptation, and I've also seen Clueless, which is the modern version of it as well. Just like Bridget Jones is the modern version of Pride and Prejudice, Clueless is the, well, not modern anymore, but the modern version of Emma. So yeah, I decided I will read this, because the only Austen books that I have read are Pride and Prejudice, which I loved, absolutely loved that, and Sense and Sensibility, and my plan is to try and read more Austen. So yeah, I figured I would read Emma, because I have this. Plus it's got pictures. I've just noticed when I was flicking through it that it has pictures in it, because obviously I'm 5 years old and I need pictures. So yeah, there's pictures in it. Yay! But there's another reason actually why I have read this. So I also have another copy of Emma by Charlotte Bronte. Yes, Charlotte Bronte wrote a book called Emma, knowing full well that Austen had done a book called Emma. So Charlotte Bronte didn't actually particularly like Austen's work. She thought it was too flowery and too girly and innocent. Actually, I will leave a quote here as to her thoughts on Austen's work, basically. But what I decided I want to do, and this is hopefully for another video, once I've read this, I'm going to read the Emma by Charlotte Bronte. Now I feel it's a bit unfair, seeing as this is not a complete novel, but I basically want to try and do a comparison between the two, and see what they're like, really. Because I don't know if she's taking influence from her, or if it's taken on her own take. I don't know. So I hope to read both Austen's Emma, which is obviously a very complete novel and has many different adaptations to it, and I plan to read Bronte's Emma as well, to just kind of get a feel for like what sort of route she was deciding to go down as well. So yeah, I got these to read as well. Obviously this is the main one. This was just to see what it was like, really, and then I'll do a video to share my views on that. Another one that I want to read, now as you'll probably find with a lot of these later books as well, is I've got a lot of kids books here to read. This one isn't, this is yet another Austen book. So I found this on my mum's bookshelf before I got into the kids one. So I found this on my mum's bookshelf, which is Northanger Abbey and Persuasion. So I think it's two quite short stories by Austen. Now these other books are seen as children's books. Now, one of them, I don't know if it classes as a kid's book, but apparently, like, when I've spoken to a friend of mine, she read it when she was in school. So, I don't know. And I think it's literally the only modern classic that I've actually got in my pile as well. So I will start off with that one. So another one of the books that I want to read is Animal Farm. So I've never read this book. I know that George Orwell, he wrote 1984, and I actually wanted to read that one, but I have no idea where I've placed it. I don't know where I've put it. So when I found this one, I went hunting. I figured, oh, I'll read this one instead. It's very thin by the looks of it, and I know roughly what it's about. So it says here, one of the greatest political fables of all time. It is a book for everyone and every man. Its brightness undimmed after 50 years. So that was somebody's review of it. Having got rid of their human master, the animals of Manor Farm look forward to a life of freedom and plenty. But as a clever, ruthless elite among them takes control, the other animals find themselves hopelessly ensnared in the old ways. Orwell's chilling story of the portrayal of idealism through tyranny and corruption is as fresh and relevant today as when it was first published in 1945. So yeah, that is what the story is about. Like I said, I don't know if this classes as a children's book. Let me know actually in the comments down below what your thoughts are. Is this classed as a children's book? Because I know people do read it in school. I didn't. It's not something I read in school. But I know some people do, and I just want to know what are your thoughts. Is it classed as a kid's book, or is it not? Is it more mature than that? Let me know in the comments down below what your thoughts are on that. So yeah, that's one of the books I've got to read as well. Now these ones I definitely know are children's books. So I have here The Prince and the Pauper. Now I absolutely really loved this film adaptation that I saw of it, which I actually found out recently is a Disney film, or maybe they just bought the company, don't know. But yeah, I really loved this adaptation of it that I saw, and I just never read it. I don't even think I realised it was a book at the time. But now that I have actually got the book, I just figured I might as well read it. It's a kid's one. It's quite big lettering, so it looks it's going to be quite easy to read. So The Prince and the Pauper is the story of a prince and a pauper, and the prince himself is actually Edward, Prince Edward, Edward VI. So Henry Tudor's son, right? That's the prince. And he comes across a young pauper lad who looks exactly like him. They look so alike. And so the prince decides, we should trade places. You know, I want to know what it's like in the outside world. And you get to have a little bit of luxury basically for a bit. You get to see what it's like in the inside of the castle sort of thing. And so they trade places. And yeah, that's basically what it is. It's trading places. And I guess some modern adaptations of that would probably be a little bit like The Parent Trap. Possibly that could be one of them. There's also loads of like The Princess and the Pauper. There's a lot of things like that. And there's loads of different adaptations out there. Like even Mickey Mouse did an adaptation of it, I'm sure, I think, as well. So yeah, The Prince and the Pauper, I want to read because I really loved the film growing up. So I feel like I need to actually read the material behind that said film. I also have Through the Looking Glass, which is the sequel to Alice in Wonderland. Now, I read Alice in Wonderland last year. This is the reason why I decided I will read Through the Looking Glass. I wasn't sold on Alice in Wonderland. I really wasn't sold. I think it's a sort of story where you read it chapter by chapter on a night for the kids to like unwind, because it just seemed to be like a lot of nothing was happening. Like something would and then it didn't, and then something would and then it didn't. A lot of nothing really happened. It was very very slow. I don't know if the second one's going to be like that. I don't know. But because I've read the first one, I was like, I need to read the sequel. I don't know, is there any more? I don't think there's any more of these. I think this is definitely the last one. And in this one, actually, it's got a lot of the characters that I've already been introduced to, because again, I've seen adaptations of it. So in this version, I know that it says here that you meet Chessboard, you meet Tweedledum and Tweedledee, you meet Humpty Dumpty, you meet the White Knight. So there's characters here that I have met before in different adaptations. But it'd be nice to see what they're like in this as well. So yeah, I've got Through the Looking Glass, the second book to Alice in Wonderland. So got that to read. And then the last children's ones that I've got to read is The Wizard of Oz and Glinda of Oz. Now, Glinda of Oz is the third book in the series, as far as I can gather. So we have The Wizard of Oz, okay, talking about Dorothy, talking about how she's from Kansas, she wants to go home, and she ends up meeting a scarecrow, a tin man, and a lion, and they all go on this adventure. So I wanted to read it because I've seen the adaptation, I've seen the musical, but I wanted to read the book, so I figured that's what I would do, I'd read the book. And then I found this one as well alongside it, which I think is actually the third one, because I think the second one is Return to Oz, and so this obviously is Glinda of Oz. This is the third in that collection. I think there's actually more than 3, I don't know how many. So there we have it, guys. Those are the classics that I plan to read. There is some poems I want to read, so I want to read The Lady of Shalott, I want to read The Raven, I want to read The Highwayman. There's probably some other like classical books out there that I'll probably want to read that I've got on my Kindle, but I'll have a fun through that, see what catches my interest. But those are the ones that I definitely want to read at the moment. Let me know down below what classic books you are wanting to read. If you are part of the classic community, please let me know down below as well. I'd love to know what books you're wanting to read. Are you planning to read more classics this year as well? Let me know. Have you read any of the books that I've mentioned? I'd love to know. Please let me know all the information down below in the comments, because I love talking to people. Like this video, subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and I'll catch you in another video really soon. Thank you for watching.